Is this war about to get a lot more serious? Well, it certainly feels like that as it's all kicking off now that the supreme leader of Iran has refused to surrender. Donald Trump, of course, put out that tweet in capital letters unconditional surrender. He told the supreme leader, you've got 24 to 48 hours to give up and hand over Iran. And the supreme leader has insisted, no, we are not giving up. And now Israel has apparently attacked the supposed bunker that the Supreme Leader Khamenei is hiding in. That comes just after yesterday. We had Donald Trump say, no, we're not going to kill him, at least for now. We're going to leave him be. But now that it seems there is no surrender in sight, things are really kicking off. And we've just had, just in now, breaking news, the US is now organizing evacuations for its citizens from Israel. And the reason why I make a point about this is because this suggests things are potentially about to get more serious. This is not something that will be over in the next 24 hours or so. It seems like the leaders are preparing for this to be a bit more of an ordeal than simply a few days and then get Iran to surrender. Iran does not seem to be backing down. We've now had Putin throwing his hat into the ring, telling the US, do not strike, do not get involved, because now, of course, Donald Trump, who originally, after the first strikes from Israel were fired, was pretending he had nothing to do with it. He is now seriously considering a US airstrike on Iran. Now, remember, or you may not have heard, the underground nuclear facilities that really need to be taken out. Only the US has the what they're calling the mother of all bombs that is capable of taking that out. So I feel like it's becoming almost inevitable. And this is what a journalist got in response when Donald Trump tried to ask him to admit and say openly whether he is going to strike or not.
Have you been answered questions about whether you are moving closer, or you believe the U.S. is moving closer to striking Iranian nuclear facilities? Where's your mindset on that?
I can't say that, right? You don't seriously think I'm going to answer that question? Will you strike the Iranian nuclear component? And what time exactly, sir? Sir, would you strike it? Would you please inform us so we can be there and watch? I mean, you don't know that I'm going to even do it. You don't know. I may do it. I may not do it. I mean, nobody knows what I'm going to do. I can tell you this, that Iran's got a lot of trouble, and they want to negotiate. And I said, why didn't you negotiate with me before? All this death and destruction. Why didn't you negotiate? I said to the people, why didn't you negotiate with me 2 weeks ago? You could have done fine. You would have had a country.
So, what an idiot of a journalist there, right? Thinking that Donald Trump will say, yes, I'm going to strike Iran in this place and at this time. Of course, it doesn't work if you tell them, hello, we're coming to strike you at this time, because then, of course, Iran will make sure that they stop it from happening. So, Donald Trump saying there, look, you don't know exactly what I'm going to do, but making clear Iran is in a lot of trouble. I think it's almost inevitable now. Also, this is a message in another journalist question that Donald Trump sent to the Supreme Leader.
What do you say to the Supreme Leader of Iran says that they will not surrender?
Say good luck.
What is the end game?
Say it. It's already run out. That's why.
So Donald Trump saying very sarcastically, good luck to the Supreme Leader of Iran, who has refused this unconditional surrender and is insisting that he is going to fight and carry on. I mean, I suppose the guy figures he has nothing to lose, because he's like, well, I'm probably going to die, so I may as well fight to the bitter end. But it's now got so serious that Starmer, he's rushed back from the G7 in Canada, where I'm sure they'll have been, gallivanting around with flutes of champagne and whatnot, and has had to call a COBRA meeting. Of course, these COBRA meetings, they are only called in times of emergency and crisis, figuring out what to do about Iran. And Starmer is considering getting involved. I'm very interested to see what Keir Starmer does here, because when we had the first missile strikes between Israel and Iran kick off, Keir Starmer was, of course, asked, what do you think about this? And he said, well, you know, just basically have a cuddle, have a cup of tea, and work it out, guys. Stop the fight. He basically just wanted them to have a ceasefire. He didn't really seem very supportive of Israel doing what it needs to do to stop Iran. These people who are a death cult, who fund all the scary terrorist organizations, Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis, groups in Iraq, and all sorts. You know, them having a nuclear weapon could, you know, that could lead to the death of humanity. I mean, let's not forget the Iranians are ones who they chant death to America, death to Europe, death to the West, right? They chant this, they indoctrinate this, their people into this. These are not the people you want with a nuclear weapon. And the world, Israel is doing the world a favor by taking out these nuclear facilities. But the Prime Minister Keir Starmer seemed to think, no, that's not a good idea. Just stop the fighting and lay your weapons down, right? When this all kicked off. But now it seems like he is feeling the pressure, and this is what they have said in the GB News article that's just gone up. They're saying Sir Keir Starmer is discussing whether the UK should provide military support to the US if Donald Trump joins Israel's war against Iran. The PM, who is chairing a COBRA meeting with senior security officials and ministers in Number 10, called the meeting shortly after returning from the G7 summit. Britain could use its Diego Garcia airbase in the Indian Ocean as a launchpad for any strikes against Tehran. Now, that is the airbase on the Chagos Islands, which we've all been talking about. And no doubt, if Keir Starmer launches a strike from that base, he will be boasting with his chest up and wide, going around saying, look what I did with that fantastic Chagos deal. I've saved the world by renting the airbase from the Mauritians. What a plonker, eh? We should have just kept it for ourselves. But anyway, let's end that tangent and continue what it says here. So America's B-2 Spirit stealth bombers, which carry so-called bunker-busting bombs. So that's the mother of all bombs that Iran needs. Those are also at that base in the Chagos Islands. Who would have thought the Chagos Islands would end up being so important, eh? We never should have handed those away. And yeah, we've got that quote from Donald Trump there that we saw in that video where he says Iran is in a lot of trouble and I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to do. So anyway, that is the latest on Iran, all kicking off. We're going to see probably very soon whether the US decides to launch a strike on Iran or not, and also we'll see what the response is, what happens to Israel. Are we going to see when Israel are targeting Iran, they are doing it in a very targeted fashion. They've got very good technology, drone technology, to make sure they hit you know, they can hit a vehicle in the middle of traffic and just get that vehicle. But when the missiles are going the other way from Iran to Israel, they are just firing them willy-nilly at Tel Aviv and killing civilians. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens to Israel. Are they going to have a lot of destruction as a consequence if the US gets involved and strikes Tehran? Yeah, there's going to be a lot of evacuations happening, it looks like. We just had that announcement that the US is going to be evacuating people out of Israel. Are people all going to be fleeing there desperately? We know the Israelis, they are super strong minded. They really, well, they've had to become pretty tough over the past year or so, but you see so many videos of them documenting them, you know, rushing to the bomb shelters and whatnot, and they seem to be holding it together in high spirits, but it's very sad to see Tel Aviv suffering this destruction. Anyway, that's the latest. I'm Chloe Dobbs. Thank you for watching this video. Make sure you subscribe to Reasoned if you haven't already so you don't miss out on any more updates.